My name is Sophia. I was born in Obo State in 1986. Into a family that knew God by mouth, but knew spirits by blood. What I am about to share is not an opinion. It is not a sermon. It is not something I heard from someone else. It is what I personally participated in, what I enforced, and what I regret with every part of my soul today. For many years, I was involved in assignments with one purpose: to keep praying Christians poor. Not unbelievers. Not people who mocked God. Christians. People who prayed. People who fasted. People who sowed seeds. People who cried to God year after year for breakthrough. Yet nothing changed financially. When they prayed, heaven heard. But something else answered first. I know this because I was among those answering. Where it started. My father was P. Ezekiel Wee, a cocoa farmer. Hardworking. Honest. God-fearing. But he never prospered beyond survival. My mother sold Gary and palm oil in front of our house. Every morning before school, we prayed. My father quoted psalms. My mother sang hymns. But at night, my grandmother did something else entirely. Her name was Mama Felicia. People feared her. When children fell sick mysteriously, they called her. When businesses collapsed, they consulted her. They called her ABA, the elder woman. I didn't know then that she was a custodian of a poverty altar. The turning point. When I was 16, my father fell sick. No money. No help. Church members prayed. Nothing changed. One night, Mama Felicia called me into her room and said words that shaped my destiny. God answers prayers. But life follows laws. If you don't know the laws, you will pray forever. That night, she introduced me to a world where poverty is enforced deliberately, not accidentally. Initiation. I was initiated near O River, alongside 3 others. Our instructor was a woman called Madam Rukoyat, known in her coven as Mother of Wealth. The first lesson shocked me. Most Christians are poor not because God refuses them, but because something else has legal rights over their increase. That sentence changed everything. Why Christians were our target. In witchcraft, we rarely focused on unbelievers. Why? Because unbelievers already belong to the system of the world. Christians were the real threat. But not all Christians. We targeted praying Christians without knowledge. There was a list in our coven called the productive but empty list. Hardworking believers. Sincere prayers. Zero financial progress. Brother Samuel. One of the first names I worked on was Brother Samuel Adeo, a carpenter. He prayed every morning at 5 a.m. His wife fasted every Wednesday. 12 years. No progress. Why? Because while his mouth prayed for wealth, his foundation spoke poverty. His father once said, "No child of mine will ever be richer than me." That vow answered before every prayer. How poverty was enforced. Let me say this clearly. Poverty is not always lack of money. Sometimes, it is a spiritual policy. We enforced it through family altars, words spoken by parents, neutralized seed offerings, repeated financial emergencies, dreams of loss. Christians prayed harder. We relied on the delay. Predictable Christians are easy to keep poor. The Christian who escaped. The first Christian who escaped our net was Sister Busy Ajay. She prayed like others. But one day, she did something different. She returned stolen money, broke family covenants, stopped feeding certain altars unknowingly. The moment she corrected her foundation, our grip broke. That terrified me. Because knowledge weakens witchcraft. The Book of Lag. In our coven, there was a physical book. We called it the Book of Lag. Inside were names, families, professions, and clauses tied to finances. Almost every name belonged to church members, choir members, ushers, deacons, prayer warriors. One name I remember clearly was Elder Joseph Kohler. Generous man, faithful giver. But his business never crossed the line. Why? Because of a covenant his father entered decades earlier. His giving didn't break poverty. It fed the altar enforcing it. A painful truth. Not every offering reaches heaven. Some offerings are intercepted. We were assigned not to buildings, but to altars behind pulpits. When injustice remained unresolved, church altars leaked. Members prayed. Members fasted. Members gave. Yet their finances stagnated. Why fasting alone didn't work? Fasting weakens the flesh. It does not automatically cancel covenants. We preferred fasting Christians who ignored foundations. They were tired, emotionally vulnerable, spiritually predictable. Words spoken in anger, unaddressed injustice, unbroken vows. Prayer alone could not cancel them. Who we feared? We didn't fear rich Christians. We feared aligned Christians. Christians who corrected foundations, returned stolen things, broke family covenants, obeyed God without negotiation. One mechanic named Brother Ajoni did this. When our assignments failed, Madam Rukoyat said, "Leave him. His money is no longer ours to touch." That sentence haunted me. The final break. The final crack came during an assignment against Pastor Daniel Ojo. He was poor, but his heart was clean. When he corrected unpaid wages and restored justice, his finances shifted almost overnight. No ritual could reverse it. That was when I understood the truth. Witchcraft does not create poverty. It only enforces what is legally allowed. Remove the legal ground, and witchcraft collapses. My deliverance. My own freedom did not come through fear. It came through truth and restitution. I returned things. I made calls. I broke covenants deliberately. When the final prayer was said, something left quietly. That silence told me everything. Final word. If you are praying and still struggling financially, it does not automatically mean God is angry, or slow, or testing you. Sometimes, something else is speaking louder than your prayers. Fix the foundation. Correct injustice. Break wrong agreements. When that happens, prayer becomes dangerous to witchcraft. My name is Sophia. This is my confession. And this is where I end.